Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. It's late and I've not really had a second win today, but I wanted to show you some resources for Christians, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So definitely spread the word about what I'm about to show you. And what I'm about to show you is what I call the Hub. And the Hub is a resource hub, for lack of a better word, that I've created on evangelicaldarkweb.org/hub. And this is a bit of a resource center for Christians. It's ongoing, it's under construction, much of it, but I have something to put out there, something to share, so I wanted to do that already. So let's just give you a quick tour of the hub. And, the first and primary resource I wanted to show you is where to find a church, how to find a church. And I endorse this service called discerningchristians.com, which has a map feature, which I can't use at the moment. I can't show you at the moment because I'm not logged in because this is a private browser. But this is a good resource for finding a church. I can testify to this. And I want you to know that if you are not in a local church, it is your duty as a Christian to be in search for a local church to attend. Because the Christian is not to be in violation of foregoing the fellowship of the saints. We are not to neglect the fellowship of the saints. And just because church is locked down while doing that, in violation of this biblical command, does not mean you should be in violation of this biblical command as well. That God will hold that church accountable, but you will also have to answer for your actions. So I want you to, if you do not have a church, to go to Discerning Christians and find a church near you. I recommend this resource. I have personal experience with this resource. It is a good resource. Go ahead and use it if you are in need of a church. And I understand that this is a product that's rather new. It doesn't have churches everywhere across the country, but in my opinion, you should be willing to drive a little bit further to go to church than maybe you're comfortable with currently. So just think about what an average commute might be for you and compare that with how far you're willing to drive to church. And an average commute can be, back when I was commuting, it could be somewhere from 30 minutes or 25 minutes to 50 minutes. So currently I'm at 30 minutes. 30 minutes to go to church. So just take that as inspiration for you in finding a church. So another thing is abolishing abortion. That is the goal of any real pro-life movement, is to abolish and criminalize abortion. And I don't spare the details. I think both the mother and the doctor should be sentenced to death for capital punishment of murder for performing an abortion. It's no different than hiring a hitman. And that's the type of pro-life activism, the Evangelical Dark Web is about supporting. And we're going to have more resources on that coming up. But again, Evangelical Dark Web is not built to be a pro-life ministry, but we do want to support those who are built to be a pro-life ministry, those who specialize in being a pro-life ministry. Because after all, this is about specialization and being useful. This is the purpose of spiritual gifts, that not everyone is gifted with the same things. Not everyone is gifted with the same focuses within the church. Some people are more focused on abortion than me, and I want to support those people. Political activism, this is coming soon, and I'm going to tie that back into the entertainment one when I get to that, because that's also coming soon. Finding love, that's my friendly, fluffy way of saying, here's a dating resource for you to look at if you are in the dating pool. Dominion Dating. I had the guy on for an interview on the Evangelical Dark Web a few months ago, and that was a pretty good interview. I think he is on the verge of creating a good dating pool. Now, again, I'm not the one to determine whether it's a good dating pool for you and, how far you should be expanding your scope geographically for finding a perfect mate. But I do think, since generally if you feel like you're not called to singleness, which most people aren't, if you have like an active sex drive, if you know what I'm saying, you're probably not called to singleness, and you should consider Dominion dating as an option. It's in beta currently, as far as I know, last I've checked, and you should consider that as a possibility for you. Self-defense. This is going to come soon enough. I know anytime you talk about things coming soon in the web development stage, it's not as soon as you'd like. But this will also be behind a paywall. This will be for subscribers of the Evangelical Dark Web, is resources for self-defense. And this is going to be a little bit more advanced than just your normal self-defense resources. And that's why it will be behind a paywall. And I just want to be upfront about that because, again, if you're a subscriber to Evangelical Dark Web, you are paying for an additional product. That's going to be one of the additional pages that you get to see if you're a subscriber to the Evangelical Dark Web. Legal help. This is important for everybody because, if you're familiar with Joe Biden announcing how he's going to sick OSHA on you, we recommend Liberty Counsel, which can give you a religious exemption. And I totally support using that type of strategy and tactic to carry on your daily life as you see fit. And Alliance Defending Freedom is not good on the issue of lockdowns, but they are otherwise good on a lot of other free speech, practicing religion type of issues. So, we recommend those two resources. I want to say we should also add the Thomas More Society, who is the lawyer company for John MacArthur and defending him from Gavin Newsom and his dogs. So there's more to come. This is under construction, but I want to share what I have, what resources I already have, because you need these. You need these. If you're a Christian, you need resources. You need resources to find a church, and I'm putting this all in one place called the Hub. I'm trying to be useful here. I'm trying to love the church by sharing my knowledge on resources for Christians to other Christians, to other discerning Christians. So that's the purpose of this. I'm going to skip entertainment for the time being. I'm going to fast forward to finding a seminary. And I think the seminary model that's currently popular is outdated and it's not built to last for the future, especially as we enter into a post-Christian society. It's not going to last. And finding a seminary is extremely difficult because I don't even know what traditional seminaries are still good anymore. I would not trust a Southern Baptist seminary, so that crosses out 6 theoretically decent seminaries from any consideration, in my opinion. And a lot of the other seminaries outside the Southern Baptist Convention, I'm not sure where their trajectory is. Like Liberty University might be the largest seminary that I think you can consider, but I haven't done all my research on that particular seminary. And it's been a while since I've looked into going to a seminary as well. But I really like what Russell Fuller is doing, and he's kind of creating a more vocational certification type of program that's not going to be seeking college accreditation. It's just going to be teaching you things you need to know if you're going to be a pastor, like exegesis, Greek, Hebrew, hermeneutics, the core requirements of being a pastor, the things that you can't just learn or maybe can learn. I don't know how many pastors that learn the Greek know enough of it to be able to teach it. So Russell Fuller is the guy when it comes to teaching Hebrew. He is the Hebrew expert, and he created an online class system for being able to learn and become a seminary, or in becoming trained to be a pastor. There's other things going on like this. I believe Founders Ministry started their own Institute of Public Theology. And again, I think that just launched this fall. So I'm not sure. So I've yet to recommend that. So, Russell Fuller is not the only thing going on in this space. And then we have Owen Strand, who is one of the provosts at, I believe it's called, I can't even remember the name of that seminary. But there are a few options out there, but what I think the future is online learning paired with local training. That is what we need to be doing. That is more biblical than what the traditional model of you going to a seminary summer camp, a glorified church camp, to learn how to be a pastor, because that's not really working out in the long run. Okay, so let's circle back to political activism and entertainment. These are two areas that I want Evangelical Dark Web to expand into the future. And political activism will probably be the first expansion. And the reason why is because the 2022 election is next year. But even sooner than the general election of 2022 are the primaries, which I believe begin in March, which are in some ways more important than the general election, because I think the Republicans will have a wave. But if the Republicans aren't putting in good Republicans, that wave will not make a difference. So there's a lot of state races to look into. There's a lot of congressional seats to look into as well. And that's what I want to gear towards this political activism within the Evangelical Dark Web. I have said for months that the things we need to do is identify viable races. We need to be able to identify viable races. We should be abandoning lost causes. And we're about to find out very shortly whether California is a lost cause with their recall effort on Gavin Newsom. If they can't recall him, California is a lost cause and kick the dust off his sandals, in my opinion. Moving on, number 2 is we need to be able to identify viable candidates. And to me, the gold standard is being a Christian, being a social conservative, and having the stomach for politics. Not every Christian has the stomach for politics, and they should therefore butt out and leave it to the professionals. Now, not everyone who has the stomach for politics is actually on your side. So we need to be able to bridge the two. And I think a perfect example of someone who can bridge the two is Ron DeSantis, who not only is a staunch social conservative, but has also demonstrated that he has a stomach for politics. He recognizes that politics is civil war, and we need more politicians like that. And then number 3, eventually down the road, we need to be able to recruit viable candidates. And definitely one of the most viable options is the state legislatures. Who are the best state legislatures? Let's get them an upgrade. Let's send them to the big leagues. And then we need to support those candidates, which is what we want to be doing with this political activism, is supporting the viable conservative candidates. And then, of course, we need to get the word out. Now, I'll be honest about myself. I do not really have good social media game outside of this YouTube platform. I think YouTube's my most successful social media platform. But other than that, this is not meant to be an initiative that I take on alone, that Evangelical Dark Web takes on alone. But we need to be doing something. And I've been waiting too long for other people that I'm somewhat familiar with to invite me on to help bring these ideas to them. So I think I'm going to have to start something myself, because other people aren't willing to do this strategy, which I believe is the only strategy. It's more personnel based and not social media based. Number 6 is we need to turn out their base. And again, I'm not skilled to be doing voter turnout efforts. That largely involves a campaign. But like I said, there's 6 things we need to do. And, we need to be able to identify the viable races and identify the viable candidates. Then we can divert the rest of the resources to those viable efforts, to those viable campaigns. And too often we get bogged down in people that are social media candidates and otherwise have no clout, no chance of winning. And that's a shame. So entertainment is another thing I want to do. I think that Christian storytelling has a lot to offer. But the shame of the matter is that Christian filmmaking is bogged down by ridiculous restraints that appeal to a Hallmark audience, which is not the audience that is the key demographic. I think Christians should be marketing towards the 18 to 44 or whatever year that golden age bracket is. The people that spend the money, the people that go watch movies, the people that go read fiction books, the people that stream online. That's the audience we need to be making content for. And I also believe that we should not be having restraints on our artistic creativity so long as it's not glorifying as opposed to depicting sin. So I want to do fiction writing, and I've done fiction writing, and just nothing's published at the moment because there's a lengthy editing process that I undergo myself before I even go through the process. And another quick side note is I am working on a nonfiction book that's related to the evangelical dark web and the content you are producing. So, but after I'm done that, I want to write some fiction, tell some gritty stories that advance a Christian world view. And that's what we need to be doing. If it's not going to be gritty, it's going to be completely satirical. So I look forward to dipping my toes into writing comedy. I think that would be an interesting experiment to see if I can do it. Certainly a challenge to write comedy books. So, lastly, I just want to say the evangelical dark web does exist to advance several different purposes. And so, like I said, what do we look to achieve? We want to anathematize the false doctrines. We want to expose false teachers. We want to dismantle celebrity culture within evangelicalism. We want to promote biblical eldership. We also want to equip Christians to survive in an increasingly anti-Christian culture. And lastly, I do want to show you this. This is our subscription system on the evangelical dark web. And if you want, you can become a subscriber to support the evangelical dark web. This is just like a Patreon, but it's in-house because I'm not going to rely on Patreon, which is a platform that does commit some censorship. They are a big tech platform like anyone else. They censor like anyone else. So I built my own platform because I can do that. I am a website-based and also YouTube-based platform, so it makes sense to integrate the two rather than create an offshoot platform. So again, just to do a quick explainer, the activist is just you're supporting the site. You get access to all these pages, all these resources that will be made, and you can be able to submit questions that I can answer in upcoming videos. For the Zealot class, you get a free copy of any books that I write. You get all the benefits of an activist, and that's a pretty good deal, I think, if you really love the evangelical dark web. And if you are a peacemaker, you get the ability to be a regular panelist on evangelical dark web live streams. One of the ideas I'm thinking about is doing sort of a town hall type of thing where we have an issue that we want to discuss as Christians, as believers. And if you're a peacemaker, you can be a panelist. I won't force you to be like on screen or anything, but you can be a panelist on that. And otherwise, if you're in the Gen Pop, you can be in the comment section live responding to a discussion that is ongoing that I will moderate and maybe even bring other people, other content creators on to help discuss important issues. So that's the idea I'm floating around. Let me know what you think about that idea. And again, also, if you're a peacemaker, you can get to have a greater influence on the direction of evangelical dark web in the same way that a producer on a song has some influence on that. I don't know what a producer in music does, but again, it's another way to support content that you support. So I just wanted to show you that and just the things that I'm building over at evangelicaldarkweb.org. And just to go back to the hub, these are the types of things I want to do, is be useful and share my knowledge with other believers so that they can edify the local church, whether it be by means of finding a church or activism within the church. I also want to help you be able to protect yourself. That is the self-defense thing. That is the legal help thing. And I think I'm going to have other hubs of resources coming. Stuff about, farming your own food, growing your own food, stuff like that. So there's a lot more that can be added to this, but I just had to get this out there to help you out as believers. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And also like this video and share it, just because these are Christian resources here that I'm trying to get out there to help edify the church. So if you would do that, that would be a blessing to other people. And also subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you on the next one. Have a blessed day.